All right, welcome to our team huddle, guys. Every week from 2 to 3 Mountain Time. Right now it starts. This is a chance for us to be able to kind of get together, just do a little refresh, plan, do review. When I was a missionary, I remember I used to look down on meetings because I thought, well, we should just be doing stuff. And I was fortunate because the gentleman that was leading us, he said he was a corporate coach. He actually used to coach at Tony Robbins and these guys. I didn't know that. And he found that sometimes you need to slow down to speed up, is what he said. And I discovered, it seemed as if when I would almost be in the field, in the mix, getting ready to go, I would get pulled out, be like, oh, not another meeting. And here's what I found out. There are effective meetings and then there are ineffective meetings. And if the meeting is effective, you will be more effective with the same axe that you were using to cut the tree down. You'll cut that tree down faster if you do it that way. So during team huddles, it's typically during that time when you are just in the middle of your dial session, because again, Mondays, Thursdays, you dial if you're in the home, and it lets you get refreshed. And so just understand that's why we have these. So every week, 2 to 3, if there's someone you know is on the team that is not on this, shoot them a text, because here's the truth. If you're taking notes right now, write this down. The most important meeting is the one that you missed. Guaranteed. I used to think that was some kind of fancy saying, but here's the truth. The universe works in a very, very, very interesting way. The more you say you want something, the more it'll test you. And here's what's interesting. It's almost like that movie, A National Treasure. The clue may be in a place, in a way, phrased in a certain method that you may not understand. But some of us are praying, some of us are working hard, looking for the next step. And that clue, that next step was right there at this meeting. But here's what happens. If you miss the meeting where your clue or your next step was, that clue doesn't come back to the next one. It might wait for 6 months, because I'm not going to talk about the same thing every time, or you may not get the same thing because you're in a different vantage point in your life. So I'm just giving you a suggestion. Make the event not because of me, but because of you. And that's what made me successful. I'll be honest with you, when there was a time when I was this close from quitting, I wasn't necessarily, I was looking for every possible way. So I went to the place looking, and because I was looking, I found. So kudos to you guys for being here. We're going to start off, as we always do, with the recognition. Great job for those people that are, you failed silently, but you're being recognized publicly for the things that you're doing. So I'm going to share the screen. There we go. All right. Oh, there we go. Apologize. I need to hire a tech guy, right? Don't worry. There's an opening for a tech guy. If you guys know anyone, hint, hint, that's you. So as we grow in the business, you'll find that you start being asked to do a little bit more as far as responsibilities. I'm going to give you a hint. When you're asked to do things from leaders, just accept them, because that's an opportunity in a small way for you to learn how to lead. So kudos to those who are doing the thing. Instead of me talking, here they are. Great job, guys. Brand new agent, been in here about a week. Clarissa, awesome job. Hall of Fame is calling your name. Consistency, that's what I call it, consistent Rose. Wendell, consistency. All right, Woody, appreciate you, what you do, sir. One and only Ron. Thank you, sir. And Melissa, she just came back and first go at it. Help 2 families. Brand new. Shavante came in last week. And of course, I love me some Maureen. Thank you for what you do. Kamisha, she's been going as well, strong. All right, Dwayne, I love, this is to me my favorite part, recognizing agents. And I went out once in like last 6 months to protect the family. Guys, Vernon always working to help protect families. And we see these numbers 1, but it means something. Eric, a brand new writer, first appointment, help to protect the family. And of course, Joe, he's consistent as well. That's it. So just remember, the first lesson I'm going to share is You can have a bad day, maybe a bad week. It's doubtful if you stack the deck in your favor, but you're never going to have a bad month ever if you just keep going. So I wrote some notes on this. I'm going to just transition real quick for a little bit of a blurb, just so you understand what we're going to do. I'm always going to give you some how-tos, and then we're going to talk about some topics that we've been seeing happening. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of my mentality behind this. And I'm doing this on purpose, not for me, but because you all, I literally applaud every one of you. You are leaders in your own right. The only reason that I'm here, who knows why? It's not because I'm better. I'm just being real with you. I have no confusion that I'm any better. It's for some reason I was supposed to be here, but I believe so many of you are better than me. And my job is just to help you claim your greatness. That's it. And so I'm going to share you my mentality behind what I'm going to share with you, so that as peers, not as me above you, but this is a peer. As a leader, I remember when I was a leader as a missionary, and I say that often because that was where I learned a lot of my leadership. I was the leader of this group, and here's what I found out. We were having this specific challenge, helping people. And it's interesting because what I discovered, I'll give you this specific example. We were having this challenge, helping people move to the next stage. We would teach them, and the next step was to commit, right? To come to church. That was just our situation. But, we would have these awesome people, these awesome prospects. It would seem so good. Everything would work so well. But when it came time to go to the next step, whether it's going to church or whatever it is, they would be no-shows. And I am like boggled, because these people seem so interested. Like, they couldn't be lying to God, right? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, I'm thinking about this. And as I'm thinking about it, I am in it, mentally exerting myself. This idea comes to mind. And you know what's funny? As soon as I solved that problem, and as soon as I executed that idea, it was solved. So it was during the week. We had our meetings every Monday. And I was thinking, and we went 2 by 2. And I said, you know what? I have this idea. And we called each other elders. And I said, hey, let's do this. Here was the idea. I don't know how it came to me, but here's what I know. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. The idea was, so if we had Mrs. Jones go into a house, we want to go teach her Jesus, right, in the house. The idea said, hey, don't do that. Say to Ms. Jones, hey, Ms. Jones, we want to teach you, but I need you to meet us at the bottom of your stairs, or I need you to meet me at the little bodega, the little Spanish market, right at the end of your street. I know it sounds crazy, right? But guys, it worked. Ms. Jones would meet us at the bottom of her stairs. She would meet us at the little eatery, just, right there next to her house. And you know what happened? They began taking the next step. Because here's what I learned over time. I didn't even know why it worked. It was called a microcosm. People do small examples of big things. If you can find microcosms where people aren't having to take a leap, a quantum leap, it's just a small step because they've already done it before, then it'll work. And so as soon as me and my companion, as soon as we saw that, we were like, it's working. The next meeting is we brought up this situation we had. Guess what everyone else in our group said? We were having the same problem. Here's what I found out. So when you're a leader, the problems you're having aren't necessarily for you only. The problem that you're overcoming right now, it isn't because you're so bad. It's because you need to lead Billy Bob that's going to be coming on board in your agency 6 months from now, 3 months from now, 2 months from now. You need to have overcome that challenge so that when Billy Bob shows up, he has someone that could lead them to the right place. So it's very critical that when as leaders, when you embrace problems, you better be thankful. The problem is not because you're bad. The problem is because you need to overcome it for your future team, right? For your future self, overcome it for your future income and for whatever you need to do. So I'm going to go over some basic things. This is going to be a how-tos, first things first, on basic things we got to do on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly, on an annual basis. We started some time back, but we weren't ready for it as an agency. And so it got put in the back burner. We are now ready for it as an agency, and for it to be ready. The reason we weren't ready for it, because truth be told, is I don't know whether the pillars weren't there, but the pillars are there now. You as leaders, I'm talking to you. If you're hearing my voice, I'm talking to you. If you don't have anyone else on your agency, you are leading yourself. You're 20K a year self, 30, 40, 50K a year, wherever you are at, that person is who you were. Lead that person to where you need to go, which is your 100K a year self, right? Your 200 family a year self. So lead yourself as the first person. You need to be that pillar that sets this right, and you are going to hold yourself accountable to these pillars, right? So I'm going to share that with you real quick as we go through. But before I do, a quick 2-minute plug on, of course, the national conference. The national conference is coming up, and we are trying to eliminate every excuse that everyone has. If you are on the Telegram group, please stay tight to that group. A lot of the information we disseminate there. So if you don't get the information, it's self-inflicted, okay? I get it. There's information. There's a lot of, bing, bing, bing. I get it. That's called business, okay? That's called being a parent or, a life. It's just the cost of doing business, but you cannot neglect that. On there, Anna sent a text. If you've already paid for a room, please send her a text so she can lock you down. We're getting everything in a row, and it's first come, first serve. I believe there's about 10 rooms left. So for those that don't know what I'm talking about, for those that have already gotten their registration, for those who are ready for the next step, which is getting your room and your airfare, whichever one comes first. We at least got the rooms talked about. We went ahead and took care of 2, it's about to be 3 Airbnbs, and there's some rooms and there's some space. So rooms and couches, here's how it worked out. We fronted the cost. All you need to do is show your commitment by simply getting a room. Instead of the $600-800 for the 4 days, we bundle it down. So $275 is what's going to be what you'll be charged for the 4 days. Not bad, right? Shared cost makes it easy for everybody. So send the money, Zelle the money to agency 520-526-3672. It'll say Haven Financial Group. Zelle it there ASAP, okay? Because it's first come, first serve. We know you'll get there, but hey, why not get there with a cheaper price, right? And Anna wrote it down for me. She says that there are, actually, I was wrong. There's 6 rooms left and 7 couches. So for $275, you get a room. And that's before we got the next Airbnb. For $50, if you don't need a room, because we're not going to be much time, we're not going to be there anyway. $50, you'll at least get a couch, some place that is covered, but a couch to be able to see futon, whatever else, something to stay on. So whatever it takes, just make some kind of movement forward. If you start with 50 and then you kind of, by the time we hit the cutoff, you end up with 275, wonderful, but it's still first come, first serve. Don't be like a client saying, well, let me think about it, right? Come on, we've been there, guys, come on. Let me wait till my money is right. Really? Come on. And this is what gets me. Again, we are upset at the excuses clients give, yet someone's asking you to commit to your own future, and we give excuses, right? So let's be the leader that you want to be the kind of client that you would like to have, right? You need to do it. You know it's going to be the best for you. The price is so low, it's ridiculous. Just do what you got to do to get there. And hey, last little plug. If you've already gotten a room, I told you, you are leaders in your own right. Please think bigger. Your number one error, your number one regrets, it's not going to be that, I didn't book a room. It won't be anything else but one thing, that you didn't bring enough people with you. So if you've already gotten your room set, I need you to start thinking, how many people can I bring here with me? How many people can I take to see the vision? Because this national conference, I'm telling you guys, it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be the best thing that you've ever seen. Your mind will expand. And the reason that you are where you are now, it isn't so much of the how-tos. It's almost like if you had a Windows computer, right? And you wanted to, advance, you got a Mac, just kidding, right? Not really, but you got a Mac. And you got there's this Mac program that's supposed to solve all your problems, right? But you didn't have a Mac yet. You still had a Windows computer, but you got the Mac program. What's happening is you're trying to use the Mac program, which if you don't have to be a rocket science or a computer whiz or an engineer, you can't run Mac programs on Windows operating system. So FFL is the solution. FFL is the software. Your OS is what is the issue. So what I'm telling you is when you go to a conference, I don't know what mechanism works, but it's almost as if FFL goes from your head to your heart. Like the OS transforms, and now it can accept all that stuff you've been hearing. It just meshes. And this experience, it's something that you cannot take back. People ask, is it going to be recorded? Well, some of it is, but I mean, that's like going to the beach and saying, hey, will you give me some of the sun? Yeah, I mean, you can record the sun all day, but is it the same feeling, right? It's not. It's an experience that you have to have by going there. So for some of you that are leaders, my plea to you is this: just trust me. If you have a room, here's what I'm hoping, that you follow suit. Whenever anyone in the company does something big, do it on a small scale. So I'm kind of teaching you leading, right? And I've learned this from other people that were better than me. So if the company does it in one big scale, let's say a bonus system, guess what you do? You do it on a small scale. The company's giving away $100, per app. You can give away one. Well, hey, forget one. Give away 10 cents. Major, minor. That you're in the right direction. So in the same way for you as leaders, you see what I'm doing? Yeah, I'm eliminating the cost. But what can you do for any of the people coming on board? Do you want a big team? Because here's what we know. When you get, I don't know, they say 50 to 100 people to come to a national conference, man, it is game over. Your agency will never. That's what happened to Grady Paulson. He was new and he did what he had to do. I mean, he had people that he just did what he had to do, brought people to conference, and his agency took off. People who didn't believe in themselves, people who they were leaders or they didn't even recognize who they were, but they transformed. And so do it on a small scale. What can you do? Could you get an Airbnb? Hey, it doesn't have to be 8 rooms, 9 rooms, but could you get something on a small scale? Could you get something that would bring 2 people? Or who could you say, hey, Bill, hey, are you talking to your new agents? Hey, there's an event coming up. By the way, you need to clear your calendar right now. What's going on between the 1st and the 4th of February that you can't get out of? Nothing. Okay, so go ahead and do this. Let's go to this website, fflconvention.com. You want to be there. I keep harping on it only because it's that important. If you don't go, I'm telling you, and this is not me being mean, I want to just tell you why I'm telling you. When someone tells me they're not going to go, you are literally cutting off your cord, your umbilical cord while you're still in the womb. You're going to die. Now, I've heard it all. Nah, Mac, I'm in it to win it. Nah, I'm FFL for life. Nope. I'm telling you, it just doesn't work that way. It's like being underwater. And I'm telling you, the oxygen tank right there that we need to refill is at Miami. We got to go there first before we go to a destination. Nah, I'm busy. You're too busy to go get your fuel tank refilled. Am I getting that right? Yeah, and they're telling you all this time that they're going to make it. Just be the parent. They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. You need to fight for them, because if they knew, they would. And here's what's one thing, I promise you I'll be done with this. It's just so dang important. Here's what I always share with people. I've had it happen multiple situations where people tell me I'm talking redonkulous excuses. And that's what they are. Again, there's reasoned excuses. I'm not saying that some of them are compelling excuses, but nonetheless, that's what they are, excuses for why they can't go. And I've heard, oh, my kid is sick, this and this. I've heard it all. And here's what I always ask them. Okay, here's my question, Sean. Sean, if you knew that after this conference, it had the answers to you earning 100, 200, 300,000 a year, would you still go despite your son being sick, despite this? You know what they tell me every time? I would. Now I get it, if your mom died, I get it. Yeah, I get, but it's never that. It's always some random excuse. And and here's what they tell me. They said, yeah, so you would go even though that your kids are, even though you're broke. So, I mean, I've had people tell me they had no money. But if you knew that if you went out of that conference, you would be making 100, 2, 3, 4, would you? They're like, yeah. So I'm saying, well, what changed? Well, they're like, well, if it was sure, I would do it. See, that's it right there. You don't believe, and that very lack of belief is why you're where you are. You have no faith in yourself, and you do not wish to bet on yourself. But I'm telling you, if you don't believe in yourself, believe in all these other people. Borrow our belief that is the location. And I asked them, if you knew that you had to go to accomplish that thing where you would unlock the safe to your new you being a 6-7 figure earner, what would you do to get there, even though you're broke, even though this? You know what's crazy, guys? they start thinking of all these ideas of what they would do to get there, right? Just remember, a mind can never solve a problem with the same mind that created it. I wasn't trying to push them and go to conference. I was just trying to help them think bigger. I said, yeah, I know you don't got any money, but if you knew that you would make six figures, that there was a bag of six figures waiting for you in Miami, even with your situation now, what would you do to get there? They're like, I borrow the money. They're like, I go. They start thinking of all these ideas. That's what it takes to win. You need to think bigger than the problem you have. So again, for you leaders, think bigger. Make sure you promote hard, not for your sake, but for their sake, because it's about seeing people win. So hope I'm on that. Text Anna if you're already registered. If you're not, please send the cash over. And if you're a leader, go to Airbnb, think bigger, get a room, get a house. It's not that hard anymore. Back in the day, we had to go book hotel rooms. No, just get the house. I don't care if it's two rooms, one. But what you're saying to yourself is, I'm planting my flag right here. I'm going to win. And that's what you're saying. I'm not only going to win, but my people will win with me, right? Bring someone there, eliminate an excuse. And when you do that, it becomes more than about you. It's not about you anymore. And when things aren't about you, that's when it's bigger. That's when it's bigger. Even when things are tight for you, when it stops being about you, that's when you explode. So please get to the conference, commit to yourself, and then get someone else there. Good stuff. All right. That's that one. All right. So let's jump in. A couple of carriers that we're going to learn how to do. I like to always give people a how-to. When you're brand new, actually, I'll do this. Let me just share this actually before I go on. I think this will really, really help. Some of us are having a little trouble, but here's what I'm going to tell you is the solution. All right. Let's see if we know how to do this. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear this, or someone on mute if you can't. If
you book 30 appointments a week, every single week, what's going to be is going to be, and it's going to be in your favor. You can't stack the deck so high and still lose. Stack the deck in your favor so high, you can't lose. Recruit more people. Stack the deck. Stack the deck. Find more leaders. Recruit more leaders. I would be headhunting leaders. Leaders. Now, leadership is a widely used term. There's multiple facets to it, but I'm looking for people that want to eat the meat off the bone 24/7 like I do. And I'm going to keep willing it to happen by working. So if I can work like it depends on me, pray like it depends on God, we got a shot.
All right. Everyone hear that okay? Give me a thumbs up if you did. Okay. I'm going to say it in a little bit more poise because I want to make sure I hit every facet. Some people, they need a little bit of craziness to kind of snap out of it. For those of you that are more kumbaya, there is no way you can stack the deck in your favor and lose here. Zero. I will guarantee my month's commissions on it. Zero possibility. The only variance is you don't know what your baseline is, meaning you don't know your numbers. You bring me your numbers, we can analyze this thing, and now we know what you have to do. And at the end of the day, it comes down to work. Stack the deck. And if it took you 10 appointments, 10 phone conversations to get one sale, well, guess what we know now? If you get 20, you'll get 2. Well, you say, oh, Matt, that's a lot of work. Yeah, that's cool. That's what it's called, work. I'm not the one that's bad. You are, right? If you want it, do it. Don't complain to me of what it takes for you to get better. You either want it or you don't. And that's the difference here. I was willing, and I'm still willing to do what it takes. And I didn't even look at the scoreboard. I knew I sucked. So I keep saying it. For those of us that want more, suck faster. Let your ego go. Stop being so emotional about this. Just, and the thing about it is you will get better. That's what's cool about this. We are humans, not trees, right? You stack the deck, you double your effort. What used to be 20 appointments, yeah, but all of a sudden it becomes 15 appointments to get 2. Now it becomes 10. Now it becomes 5 because you got better. But we're complaining sometimes about, oh, this is what it takes. No, it's not what it takes everybody. It's what it takes you, right? It's you, not me. It's you, but it's you versus you. The question is, will you fight that battle, or would you prefer just to go clock in? where you don't have to think anymore. Okay. So I'm bringing this to you because the biggest battle that this whole thing is about is your mind. Some of us, we are running away from the #1 pay-per-view match in the century. That's, Zach versus Zach, Joe versus Joe, Woody versus Woody. Yeah, I'm talking about Dwayne. Yeah, Dwayne versus Dwayne, Maureen versus Maureen. It's about you versus you. Stop running away from you. I know it's scary. Go do it. And hey, a little plug for Bruce Lee. You remember that story? It was true too. Remember Enter the Dragon? He was running away from who he was. And then as soon as come on now. Hey, I'm a Bruce Lee fan, so don't hate me for it. All I'm saying is you got to battle yourself. Stack the deck in your favor and you'll do fine. All right. Last thing, and we'll jump into the training for today. And then at the end, we're always going to have Q&A. All right. There's something called the Haven 12. I'm just going to hit it, and what we'll do in the future for those leaders that want to lead, I'm guaranteeing you this, guys. This is the formula to a 400 a year family formula. This is the formula to, if you can embrace this, a formula to a 1,000 a month agency, but you need to be able to embrace it yourself. Now, I'm going to tweak it a little bit for telesales, but here it is. So if you're taking notes, take notes on it. But the truth is pretty simple. It's easy to do and easy not to do. So let me jump into it. I call it the Haven 12, right? So submit to the process of 100. Your goal is to basically do 100 appointments as fast as possible. I'm just going to get them all out. Whoops, I messed up. There we go. I'm going to get them all out right now. Boom, there we are. Submit to the process. Commit to 100 appointments ASAP. So once you get to 100, you are now an expert. Until you've hit 100, none of that counts. Like, your experience is null. It's like, when you ever been in a sports match, or maybe you ever been an expert-ish or mediocre at something, and then some wahoo, they're watching it for the first time and then they're making comments. You're like, what do you know, right? Like, their opinion doesn't even count, right? Because they don't know anything. Same concept. Your opinion of FFL is irrelevant until you've run 100 appointments, because you've not done enough for you to see it from the correct vantage point. Will you do enough? Now, here's a question I told you. If you knew, this is what really motivated me. They told me 100 appointments was the key. If you knew that at 100 appointments, you'd be an expert. That's what they told me. I'm like, man, I'm tired of being a novice. I want to get an expert. I said, does it matter what kind of appointment? It's like, no, you just got to run 100 appointments. I said, okay. So I ran 100 as fast as possible. Got to 100, boom, next thing was history. Get to 100, so submit to that process, right? No complaining, just do it, do it, do it. Invested leads every week. Andrew Taylor talks about when he was brand new, he used to say, you know what, I bought leads last week. There are people I didn't get a hold of. Let me just reuse them. Well, he found out that was the wrong mentality. Every week you're buying leads. Now, if you're telesales, here's the truth. Every day is a dial day. We're talking, this is typically for in-home appointments, but when you're doing telesales, you normally buy leads every day, right? Typically. Commit to your dial days. Like I said, if you're in-home, it's Mondays you're dialing for Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, you're dialing to book appointments for Friday and Saturday. You just commit to them. You know you're going to be dialing. If you're telesales, you're going to be doing every day is a dial day. Now, you choose the shift. So normally you buy 100 leads and you're going to dial maybe 8 to 11, right? 12 to 3 or 4, and then maybe 5 to 9. Whatever your shift is, you got to dial those leads. You're going to triple dial every lead every time. And of course, there's some techniques that you can use here and there, but the dial day is every day. When it comes to telesales and you're dialing out, buying what I love, 3-month age leads, I mean, they work. I'm telling you, look, ask Samantha O'Toole. She's not buying any special leads. She's doing 25 families a month. She buys 3-month leads and she sells every day, every day. How does she do it? Well, because first is mentality. So commit to it. Run 15 to 30 appointments weekly. That's if you're in home. If you're telesales, you want to look at more 45 to 50 typically, but that's just being straight. Now, why do I say that? Well, if you run 15 to 30 appointments a week in home, 30 appointments a week, I'm telling you, it's almost impossible. I will say almost, for compliance reasons. It's almost impossible not to be helping 30 families a month. It's like impossible, almost impossible. If you're helping, doing 15 appointments a week, it's almost impossible not to be helping 15 families a month. Now, telesales, you need a little bit more. The idea is do 2 to 5 presentations a day is typical for telesales. So that's why I'm saying 45 to 50 is ideal to compensate for that. Give me a second. I know that's a little bit more than 5 a day, but what I'm just saying, if you were booking appointments, telesales appointments, because we know the telesales show rate is a much lower than the in-home show rate. But if you actually did 5 appointments a day, presentations, hey, if you're brand new, do start with 2, but 2 to 5 presentations a day, that will get you where you need to get to for telesales, and you can guarantee those numbers. So the question is, and by the way, I'm listing all these 10, 12 on purpose. So the question I want you to ask yourself is, number 1, are you committed to the process of 100? Or meaning, are you committed to doing it no matter what? You're not going to quit. You're going to get to 100 no matter what. Number 2, do you invest in leads weekly? If you do, give yourself a 10. So you're rating yourself from 1 to 10. If you don't, give yourself a 0. If you do sometimes you don't, give yourself a 5. Same thing, you commit to dial days. If you're going in-home, do you commit to going in-home? Do you commit to the dialing time during the in-home? If you do, 10. If you don't, 0. If you do sometimes, 5. Do you run, when you do commit, do you actually book 15 to 30 appointments a week? If you do sometimes, you know what I said, 5. If you do all the time, 10. If you're, don't know, just 0. Sharpen your sword every day. So you should wake up early enough to take your medicine, read 15 pages of a good book, and listen to, read 10 pages of a good book and 15 minutes of a good audio every day. Show up prepared. During the conference, you're going to see a guy named Dave Anderson. You can hear from him, but you can hear from every trainer. And I've heard enough trainers to see that the key to successful people, the first thing that these guys do to you, they ask you, what is your normal schedule like? You know, one thing that they change every time, they change every person's morning routine before the day even starts. What are you doing? Well, if you wake up early enough to do 15 minutes and 10 pages, man, you're sharp. You're sharp. It might take you waking up an hour early. And you may have gotten 4 hours of sleep. Do you want it or not? But your alarm clock, that's why you see these people waking up at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, because they got to get ready to go do the day. You show up at a soccer game with just, you just got out of the car, you start running. No, every athlete that's special, every car, before they run the race, they are prepared, they're tuned up. Why would you, even a more complex being, why would you be any different? You need to get your mind tuned. So are you doing that? If you do your 10 pages in your 15 minutes, give yourself a 10. I'm talking, forget forever, the last 7 days. If you did it, maybe some days you didn't 5. If you never did it at all, or you didn't do it, give yourself a 0. Do you do 2 exposures? So again, let me confirm this. 1 to 5, that's how you can be a high paid salesperson here. 1 to 5. 6 to 12 is how you can build a massive agency. Here's the question on 6, 2 exposures a day. Why 2? Because everyone can do 2. Did you send maybe a message out, 1 or 2, regarding FFL? Did you talk to someone about FFL? How often did someone else hear about the FFL story? All you're asking is 2, just, hey, do you keep your options open? Or how many people did you maybe meet for the purpose of maybe connecting with someone so that you can see if they might be a good fit for this? 2, if you did your 2, great, give yourself a 10. If you didn't, 0. If you did 1, give yourself a 1. Give yourself a 5. 7, we do have our team huddle. So this is going to be our team huddle. It's our builders training. So our team huddle is going to be incorporated with not only learning basics, but we're going to be taking a segment of this and building on it. We're going to be having some special speakers that'll be pouring into you to help mold you, help create the person that you need to be in order to become and arrive at the place that you need to be faster. So if you attended the team huddle last week, give yourself a 10. If you didn't, give yourself a 0. If you were here half of it and then you had to leave, give yourself a 5. Number 8, sales conference. Every quarter, there's one every quarter somewhere. You need to refuel in between times. I suggest you always go to a sales conference. Thank goodness. I was going to give myself a 0 for this one, but I am so glad that it was actually live. Thank you, John Wetmore. So I actually could say, yes, I attended a sales conference. You want to go to a sales conference. Sometimes you may have to fly. Other times you may not have to because it's in your backyard. whatever it takes. You ask the people like Clarissa who just went there. You ask, maybe Clarissa, you just, maybe if you wouldn't mind, unmute for a second, just take a minute, share with us. You were brand new. You only seen FFL in your eyes. What, I mean, it took some effort to get to the sales conference, right? What did that do for you? Just kind of just share with those that don't understand what that did for you mentally and how it changed you and whether it's worthwhile for anybody else.
I mean, it definitely gave me a different perspective on a lot of things. And then like hearing the speakers and where they come from and where they are now, it really like I guess it really like relit my fire, because it's like me, for my situation, it's been hard for me to like stay motivated. But after that conference, I was like, no, I know I can do this and I know I can be great at it. So if so and so and so and so can do it, then I can do it too. And then like there was one lady, her name was Juanita, and she was like, I was a single mom and I did it. And she was basically saying, she was like, no one was going to feel sorry for me. And I wasn't about to go around and be like, I'm a single mom. I'm going to get it done and take care of my kid. So that kind of was the point for me. And then when Trey was talking about his parents, he was talking about how like his dad was literally dying with tumors and told he had like a week to live. And another lady was like complaining about her problems. And his dad told him, he was like, dang, and when you think you got it bad, when like his dad clearly had it worse than that lady, but his dad didn't see his problems as that bad.
Let me ask you this, Clarissa. Could you have taken that experience and someone had told you about it? Would that have been the same experience for you?
No, I definitely felt like for me, I was also like not trying to beat around the bush, but like I was also thinking like, I have no idea how the hell I'm going to make it to Miami. Like I'm just not financially there. Mm-hmm. But after that conference, I was just thinking like, if I have to freaking drive 30 hours to get there, I'm going to get there because I want to go, because I know it's, like you said, it's going to be the one thing that's going to be what I need.
Thank you. Guys, I'll be honest and say, since you're being real, let's be real together. I doubt she would still be here in the business had she not gone to that conference. And it has little to do with FFL. It's about her. She wouldn't have been able to unlock herself so she could win. You know, I love what Sean Mike told her. You're being too nice. Where else could she have gotten that? But that besides going to the place, drinking from the well, and now she unlocked herself and she does the same thing, but with a different power, different vigor. So you got to go to a sales conference. When you see the opportunities there, just choose one and go. FFLevents.com. There's one all over. You can look at the FFL Facebook page. There are also notices of different conferences available. Trust me, they're always having them. And these kind of events, guys, they're free. That event that they had there, the speakers alone, man, they could charge $1,000. These are guys. I mean, Coach Burt, I'm not even gonna go there. Free. You just got to get there. So make sure you get there. So if you went to one, give yourself a 10. If you didn't, give yourself a 0. National conference, one a year. You got to go to one a year. It's a difference maker. Of course, commit to personal development. That means you're going to, I think I mixed it up. Number 5 was sharpen your axe, meaning you're going to listen to some kind of training on FFL and on how-tos. And then, of course, number 10 is the 10 pages in the 15 minutes. Okay. So if you did that, you're already doing that 10. If you don't do that at all, 0. If you do some in your own way, kind of, give yourself a 5. And then, of course, you need to find a workout partner. We have a lot of people in this team. Find someone who you can be accountable to, someone who you can be responsible to. I know no one works for anyone here, but you need an accountability partner. Why is it that MJ, Michael Jordan, right? Why is it that LeBron, I can go on and on, why is it that they have coaches when they're the best? They have someone that they're accountable to. Why? Well, because they want to get better. So when people say things like, well, I don't need anybody. Well, you just limited yourself. Find someone. It could be a peer. There's enough people in this team because you're here where you say, hey, listen, I'm going to commit to doing my dials on Mondays and Thursdays. Just hold me accountable. Here's what I'm going to do. By the end of the day, I'm going to report to you in our group text. Dials done. Check. And if someone does not report to you, you get back to them. You need an accountability partner. If you don't, you'll be wondering why you're not achieving what these mega stars are achieving. They didn't do it themselves. they had a coach, someone they were accountable to. Why not find someone yourself for free? And of course, if you don't have one, 0. If you do, give yourself a 10. If you have one, but you report half the time, give yourself a 5. And lastly, commit to be here a year from now. Just like I don't care whether you are so bad that you help 0 families. You commit right now, doesn't matter what it is, that you will show up a year from now. Like year from this date, you'll be here. If you're like, I don't know, a year's a long time, and give yourself a 0. If you're like, yeah, I can see myself do that, 5. If you're like, yeah, I'm going to commit to a year. I'm going to commit to it. Give yourself a 10. Here's the thing. Add up all those numbers, each score you gave yourself, 1 all the way to 12, add them all up, and I want you to divide by 12. Okay? We all got calculators. Whatever that number is, that is the percentage of success that you have in making it here. Now, some of you, it is a dang low. Well, the good news about that's a great news, because at least there's no smoke and mirrors here. So if you don't make it, the numbers are right there. That's why you didn't make it, because you're not committed. Some of it's like 70%, which that's okay, but I would love a higher percentage. But here's the cool thing. Even if it's at 40, isn't it good to at least know you're at 40 instead of wondering, well, why am I failing? Well, now you know. So here's your goal. Whatever number it's at, please. Next week, when we report, next week, it shouldn't be at that number. It better not. You should just, if it's at 40 today, make it 41, 42. It shouldn't be 40 or 39. Just get 1% better every day. That's all anyone is asking. Most importantly, yourself. Okay. So that's that. The Haven 12, the Haven 12, the Haven 12. If you do the Haven 12, there is no way you're going to fail. Okay. You're guaranteed success if you do it. All right. Switching topics. I'll answer that question shortly for you there. Yeah, please share it on Telegram, but keep it in-house. There's reasons we say that. Some of it is for compliance reasons. So I appreciate all of you asking before you share things, because when integrity sees some things, they don't like it, right? So we want to keep some things internal on purpose, not because it's bad, but because for compliance, we have to, okay? I'm switching topics here, and I want to make sure I leave some time for some Q&A. All right. When it comes to FFL, it's about, you need to know what language you're speaking. So in order to be able to maintain your mental homeostasis and your sanity, you're going to have to understand what language you're speaking when you're talking to different clientele. There are 3 different kinds of languages that we confront. There is the rich people language, there's the middle class language, and then there's the poor person language. Okay. So when you're talking to people, you got to identify who you're talking to. Some of us are talking to people that are, poverty level, that they don't really understand. It's almost as if when someone is homeless and they're used to getting their food from trash cans, and the waiter goes, would you like a Grey Poupon? He's like, Grey Poupon, what? I just want to eat a burger. Like, you got to make sure you're talking English to the English person, French to the French person. Here's what I mean by that. When we're talking to clients, if you're giving them certain options, some of it is too much. So you need to identify immediately what kind of client you're talking to. Some of us, some of us, I had the same problem. When we talk to someone who's wealthy about life insurance, we don't know how to speak that language, right? We're stumped. We're like, well, what do I offer them? All I have is final expense. How do I talk their language? It's okay. If you don't know their language, it's okay. I helped over 400 families last year not knowing that language. I didn't even know what an IUL was. I had never written one, like ever. I helped 400 families doing straight final expense. That's it. And over time, I was like, well, hey, what IUL? And then I started learning more about this stuff. So I started learning maybe how to speak the rich person's language. And I started learning how to speak the person who maybe is in a lower income language. Someone on lower income, again, you want to be more straight to the point. You want to find out these things like, okay, hey, do you get it deposited into a bank account, or is it a direct express card? It's lower income language. You know, at the end of the day, they don't care all the bennies and all the bells and whistles. They don't care about none of that. All they care about is the price, right? Some of you, when you start talking to people about when you speak the wrong language, here's what's going to happen. You will get emotionally exhausted. It happened to me. I ran appointments and man, and it's tough. And again, I have an open heart. I love to help people. But here's what I discovered. When I go in and when you pour out more than people are giving, I'm trying to convince someone that $26 a month is worth it for their family. I'm like fighting them on it. After a while, guys, you get exhausted emotionally. And the way you prevent from that exhaustion is by being reserved. You need to first identify who you're talking to. And then, of course, once you identify that person, speak the language. And I give 3 shots. I give you 3 opportunities to fight for your family. And if after 3 opportunities, you're fighting me for your limitations, I'm sorry, I can at least tell your family that I tried hard, but I'm moving on. You have to decide right now, what clientele do you want? But you do, as you get better and better, you want to be able to speak each language. So again, find the sweet spot. And here's a great way to find it. I love Sandra Kehoe. She actually closes people initially on their budget first. It's one of the first things she says. It's part of her setup, the table. Hey, just so I can shop around for you and avoid any of these companies that are too much. Most of the people that I work with are in 3 categories, 3 groups. Which group are you in? Now, that's kind of dangerous, she found out. Yes, you're excluding some people because you're almost making a judgment call on them based on what they're telling you, based on maybe she does it, looking at the neighborhood. She knows she knows her area well enough to know where they live. And from that, she can know what to offer them. But what we normally stick to is based on the income, 7.5 and 3%. But if you can't get the income yet, what do? Well, you ask these questions. I just generalize it. I ask a general question. Hey, are you in the group of people looking for something between $50 to maybe $105 a month, 105 to maybe $175 a month, or 175 to 200 plus to leave as much as possible? That tells me everything I need to know. Oh, I know. Yeah, that 50 to 100, that's a little much. Bing, I know who I'm talking to. You guys see that? I know the person I'm talking to, so I can get straight to it. And I'm going to ask them the question. So are you working full-time, retired? Say, well, boom. Do you get that deposited in a bank account or direct express card? We shouldn't be finding out all this stuff later on, because by the time you discovered it, you could have been speaking in a different language unnecessarily. And all that effort you exerted, wasted. Not saying it's not valuable, but I'm saying it was wasted. And again, God created you to match the effort. You want to match your effort with the right person. We don't want wasted energy. You only have a certain amount of energy. And that's why you need to fill yourself with the right books, the right people, because that refills your energy. But man, this is tough business, guys. It's a tough business. It's hard work because we deal with people, the emotional drain. And man, I've been in a position, I remember when I was running and I didn't know this stuff. And I can tell you, my first year, I really only worked like 6-7 months. I would run hard for like a week, and I would write a lot, and I didn't know how to control the emotional energy. And I would get ill. I would drag the next few days. I would take a few days off. And guys, I'm telling you all this being transparent, and I still helped over 400 families that year. So I'm just telling you, the way you do it is you need to, I don't say pace yourself, but you pace yourself by understanding the numbers and understanding the kind of people you're dealing with. And once you understand the kind of people you're dealing with, you'll do better at categorizing them. And then you'll do better at deciding what kind of clientele you want. Some clients will say, no, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one of my agents call you, and maybe you'll give it to someone who's brand new. When I was brand new, I ran every lead. I don't care. I needed everything. I don't care if you were homeless. I've sold policies at a homeless shelter. She kept it, right? I've sold it at an abandoned building. I sold everywhere because I was hunting for everything. But after a while, I knew enough to be able to see where my niche was and where I had the greatest value, where it wouldn't be wasted. So remember that as time goes on, that's how you prevent it. Know the language of the clients. Know what they're speaking. Is it someone higher caliber, middle, or lower caliber? And address them properly so that you can do the best for yourself, the best for them, and of course, the best for the next person so that you're not dragging on. Now you may have a bad attitude because of the last one, right? Prevent yourself from having a bad attitude by asking the right questions. If you ask the wrong questions, it'll slap you, right? It's like you talk to someone in a different language. You thought you were saying how you doing, but you were actually cussing them out and they go, how dare you? You're like, what? What did I say? Well, you said the wrong thing. That's what you said. Makes sense? All right, guys, that's it for the team huddle. Thank you all for being here. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. If you give me 1 second here. All right. Oh, by the way, before I stop the recording, next week it's gonna be even better. Plug in because we have none other than Integrity Partner, master trainer. I think he is the best trainer in the company. So bring your questions. He's gonna be on for an hour. Mr. Stephen Yee is gonna be the Integrity Partner joining us next week. So make sure you plug in and invite some folks that maybe are on the fence. Invite some people who are sharp, and let's our partner Stephen Yee help them out, especially if they're brand new and they're in contracting. We'll see you guys next week.